In the still of the night, I think of you. My heart beats with every thought of you. You're the one I can't let go in your...
Chuck came into the kitchen looking for Collins, but the fool was sitting down and having a healthy breakfast, protected by the housekeeper, cook and every other thing in between. He stood, thinking of the best way to get his brother and give him the kind of punch he deserved, without having to go through me. Good morning, Chuck. If that is a scowl I see on your face, you had better head back to bed and get more sleep and see about waking up from the right side. He walked over and gave May a kiss and a hug. I assure you, I am quite fine. He stylishly walked past her, heading to Collins, who was wolfing down food like a starving man. Has she gone? So soon? What he got for an answer made him want to howl to the moon, and he gave in to that very desire. What did you do to your brother? Nothing he didn't deserve. May came to examine Collins with her spatula in one hand. She bent over Collins, who then pretended to be in great pains. Are you all right? She asked gently. No, May. I feel like I'm going to die the next minute. She turned to Chuck, her spatula raised, but he gave her a dazzling smile. Come on, May. You're not going to fall for his art. Do you want to kill him? I assure you, it will take more than a punch to do that. And it was nothing he didn't deserve. He let in a strange woman into my bedroom this morning. May stopped and turned to Collins. Collins, realizing the table had turned against him, stood up immediately, all traces of him gone. You did what? Collins gave her a good distance and smiled at her. That devilish smile of yours is not going to save you. I'm no blushing girl. But you love me all the same. Remember when my brute of a brother leaves us here all by ourselves? Who takes care of you? Collins winked at her. May sighed with humor. Chuck rolled his eyes. That's it? That's what he gets for allowing a girl into my room while I was asleep and the girl was going through my drawers? He didn't want to tell her that, but somehow he wanted me to stop spoiling an already spoilt man. What? But it's Helen. She's not a stranger. You will do no such thing again. Do you know how many girls I turn away every day? It's Helen. He knows her, Collins said lamely. Well, you could say that, Chuck thought, remembering the feel of her body in his arms and the feel of her soft lips. Then it dawned on him that he wanted more of her, and he smiled. He was suddenly looking forward to his godson's birthday party. May's voice caught into his thoughts, and he then noticed that they had been speaking to him. What? He asked. Judging by that smile, I would safely say he enjoyed every minute of finding her in his bedroom. Watch your mouth, young man. What happened? He shrugged, snatching a roll from the basket. She has left. It turned out that she was not a thief, but... They watched him pour himself a glass of juice and began eating. But what? I told you. I know my brother. He should be thanking me for waking him up in an enjoyable fashion. A look from May shut him up. Don't worry, May. She was ready from Mma. My problem is that I should have been informed before sending her to my room. And spoil your fun? Collins said. Must you always think with your balls? Chuck rejoined. You two mind your language. So how come you met her at the gate? Chuck changed the topic. May turned to Collins. Are you still taking off every night? Checkmate, Chuck said and left Collins to May's wrath. I went jogging. In a car? Chuck asked from the door. Touché, big bro. Well, young man. Chuck laughed as he headed back to his room. Collins' appetite for clubbing was something nobody knew how to handle. Most times, his friends had to drag him home drunk. He didn't know what to do about the boy, and he didn't want to be too harsh with him. He might just decide to go back to their mother. He balled his hands into fists when they shook. It was really annoying that he should still feel this way about his mother after all these years. He marched into the adjoining bathroom, determined to wash her thoughts from his mind. Helen didn't let herself think till she walked into her office. She closed the door and leaned on it. Then her body began to shake. She stifled a moan. But what did she expect? Did she think she was going to come out with a romantic confession from him? Women threw themselves at him. How did she lose control? She didn't have any memories of being with a man before, but it seemed what her mind couldn't remember, her body never forgot. On shaky legs, she found her seat and sat down, feeling ashamed and at the same time awesome. It was a very confusing feeling, and she didn't want to deal with that yet. Rather, she thought of how she was going to face Chuck when they would meet again at Emma's place. Chagrined, she rested her head on her hands and moaned aloud. She was sure he was going to see her as another silly girl giving her right eye for his attention, and that was never her intentions. She wanted to be seen as this cool, collected and respectable woman who couldn't care less who he was or what he did for a living. But all she ended up doing was jumping the man first chance she got, like some sex-starved nymphomaniac. She groaned again. Maybe she was sex-starved. Her memories had been gone for almost 3 years, and she might have had an active sex life before that. Maybe she had a husband, or a fiancé, or children. It dawned on her and she became really ashamed of the fact that she might be a married woman with children. She couldn't commit adultery no matter what. Every fantasy she had for Chuck must end. If only she could remember even the tiniest bit. She tried to think and met dark nothing. She wiped a tear of frustration. Emma threw the door open and entered. Helen at that moment tried to compose herself. Then she looked up and smiled at Emma. Even after giving birth, there was not even an ounce of excess flesh on her body. Helen envied her body, her charisma, confidence, but she was her only friend and Helen loved her with all her heart. "Hello, love," Emma exclaimed. Helen smiled. Emma smiled back and peered into Helen's face. Helen was instantly alarmed. She had forgotten how perceptive Emma could be. "Do you want some?" "That was lame," she scolded herself. "Not really, but I found someone wandering the showroom below looking for you." Her heart skipped several beats. "Who? Why should I tell you and spoil the fun?" Emma laughed, and then she came nearer and whispered, "Now, you have a date for the thing tonight?" She winked and walked to the door. Helen was trying to figure out what she would do if the person turned out to be Chuck. But she doubted Chuck would want her as his date, not after her shameful display. He would probably be afraid that she might jump him in front of the whole party should he risk escorting her. She was pulled back to reality when Emma came back with a different man. Helen breathed a sigh of relief and at the same time highly disappointed that the fellow wasn't Chuck. "You remember him, don't you?" enthused Emma. Helen tried to remember him. He was a very handsome guy, well built, with an arrogant courage and confidence that spoke old money. She wondered where she had met the guy before. "It's been some time really, but I am Dave. I modeled some of your collections before." "Oh yeah, of course, I remember. The trust fund baby turned model?" "Ouch!" he exclaimed jovially. "I told you I will be back, didn't I?" Helen smiled. "I told you I might not be available," then smiled and winked at Helen as she left, but stopped as she got to the door. "I am hoping you'll come to my barbecue party, both of you." "Party?" "Helen will fill you in." Emma left, shutting the door. Helen turned to her admirer. "So you are back in the country?" "Yes." "So are you available for a date to her party?" "Yes." "For any other, we'll see." He smiled and sat down. "Fair enough. So what is she celebrating?" "Her son's 1-year birthday tomorrow and a kind of meet and greet tonight. Nothing very fancy." "Oh, great. I understand they have this awesome beach all to themselves." "They do." "I am glad we're going together. You are different, you know." "How different?" "Can't lay my fingers on it, but it is there." and it sets you apart from millions of others. And believe me, I've seen many. Thanks. So I'll pick you up. I'll be going home with Mma after work. So let's meet there. Okay? Let me warn you. She's on the outskirts. Don't know if you appreciate driving back to town that late, Helen said, hedging. What about you? Wouldn't it be late for you too? I'll be spending the night. I have a friend who lives nearby there, so I guess I will crash at his place. Cool. We'll meet there then. It's nice seeing you again. Same here. See you tonight. He got up. I'll leave you to concentrate on your work. Helen watched him leave, confused. What just happened? She asked aloud. Here she was musing over chalk, and this hunk just asked her out on a date? Wow, she couldn't believe it. She was happy that she was not going to be alone, and have Chalk flaunt his supermodel all over the place. This will tell him that she didn't have any designs on him, not when she would have a handsome, rich hunk of a boyfriend by her side. Suddenly she was looking forward to the barbecue. Happily she brought out her sketch pad and began to sketch, wondering again how easy this business came to her. She was sure that when she got her memories back, she would find out. Uche looked up as Chuck entered, looking like the playboy he still was. He got to his feet to give his brother a hug. How was your flight? Uneventful. How are you and Mma? But mostly, how is my godson? You are lucky you came back, because your godson has been asking me every other minute if you're back and coming. And Mma would have killed you if you had disappointed him yet again. I promised him, and I always keep my promises. Congratulations again on the hat trick that won you the trophy. Chuck laughed. You know, I am glad, because recently I've been thinking of retiring. Uche looked up sharply. You are still in superb form? Yeah, right. Are you alright? You are not sick or something? Of course not. Just thinking, that's all. You know, I would like to pay attention to my business. Your fans would miss you, and by that I mean the girls. Chuck laughed. I have not decided yet. Have you seen Stanley? One thought of Ijoma, and I found myself turning the staring. I don't want the two of you going for each other's throats tonight. Doesn't it bother you that the girl is just milking him dry? She doesn't love him. She only cares for the diamonds, holidays abroad, and credit cards. It does, but Stanley doesn't see it that way. Until he does, I am not going to chase my friend away because of a worthless girl. Someone ought to make him see. He's a big boy. Some things are better experienced, just like some lessons. Besides, he's rich enough to afford her. He was just named the second richest man in Africa. Chuck shook his head exasperated. I give up. I am not worried about his bank account. I am worried about his heart. Uche laughed. Why not worry more about yours? I hear you came back alone. Chuck sat back and relaxed, giving his brother a dismissal smile. What can I say? Don't tell me she's history. Well, it didn't work out. Who are you bringing to the party then? No one for now, but you know me. I had a surprise this morning and I'm considering her.
In the still of the night, I think of you. My heart beats with every thought of you. You're the one I can't let go. In your arms I find my home, love.